All right, let's get started. We got 50, almost 60 people on. Hopefully everybody else will get on. Please keep your microphone muted unless we're opening up for questions. I don't have the chat open. Can somebody look at the chat besides me? Kenny will be looking at the chat for us if we have any questions. You can ask it in the chat and while somebody's talking if you have a question. All right, we'll get started. Welcome to the first GHSA playoff officials meeting. Embrace the competition. Because guys, that's what it is. It's a competition. So what we're going to do, I sent you the agenda yesterday. We're going to talk about mechanics. We're going to talk about some Georgia high school stuff. We're going to talk about evaluations and any rules questions we have. We'll cover one rule that we want to clarify, make sure everybody's on the same page. And at the end, we'll take your questions. Actually, in between each position meeting, if we have each position session, we'll take your questions. So let's see, let's get started here. All right. We are recording this. I will send you a link on the email that I have. I had 2 kickback. I don't know why they were wrong, but I think they're on. But I had 2 kickback from the email addresses that you sent Jay. If there's anybody on who doesn't get it or hadn't gotten the emails or whatever, got it from somebody else, you need to get that link to this meeting so you can play it back for your or send it to your crews. Let them review it too, because we're going to go over every position. All right, Greg, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
All right. You'll tell me when you need to flick it.
All right. Hey, guys, I'm just got through refereeing some basketball here, so just going to talk real quick. So, James, you can flip the slide. So just a reminder here about overtime changes. Again, I know we've been doing it all year, but again, it's a good reminder for us all during the postseason to make sure we go through that. Go ahead, James, next slide. And then just a reminder also about go back one slide, James, I believe, please. Okay, never mind. Just keep going. Keep going. Just remember about penalty enforcement and overtime. Maybe Rick or somebody will speak to that. But again, just remember no live ball fouls carry over in overtime. So we just got to make sure we're on top of that. The only mechanics change that we had this year, next slide, James, was related to for the referee position was where we are on the kickoff. And so the referee will line up directly in line with the lateral placement of the ball for the kickoff. All right. We should have been doing this all year, but that obviously will be something that evaluators will easily be able to see. So make sure you do that. Next slide, James.
Everybody, please mute your microphone, please.
Again, just a general reminder about scrimmage plays. Our starting position. Those are things we can control 12 to 14 yards deep. Good width, always on the passing arm side, and remembering what our initial keys are. We're in 7-person mechanics, so realizing that if we have trips to one side, our initial person, I can't think of the word I'm trying to say here. Our initial, whether we're going to the tackle, we may go to the opposite side tackle. On scrimmage punts, we clarified this year, 3 to 5 yards deep and then 5 yards wide at a 45-degree angle, and we're always on the kicking leg side. Let's also remember on every play that we are confirming our count with our umpire, and we're holding it until we have confirmed. And then when we need to use the wave off, let's make sure we do that and make sure that we give the snapper protection signal in all scrimmage kick formations. All right, next slide, James. This is something that we talked early on at the camp this year. At the first couple of camps, there was a little bit of discrepancy about this, but as we went on through the year, we corrected that. So again, if we have no holder or no kicker in place, meaning that he does not have his knee on the ground, we're in a normal scrimmage kick formation, everybody on the crew. So the referee would be on the passing arm side like we would normally. If we have a holder with his knee on the ground, then we will move and we will be in our scrimmage, our field goal position We'll be even with the kicker, 10 yards wider, facing the holder. Again, we're going to confirm our count and then give snapper protection signal. Next slide, James. These are just some special situations we talked about kind of at the end of our session this summer. Again, timeouts, injuries. When we have timeouts, we're giving 3 whacks. That's the James Arnold rule. Just, reminding you about all of these things, not really going to go over that. Just make sure that your crew also, whenever we have, touchbacks, fair catches, missed field goals that cross the goal line, let's make sure that we're asking the teams what lateral position they wanted the ball, position 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next slide, James. So just a couple final comments from me. Penalty reports, and I know that James is going to talk about this a little bit later. Let's make sure, guys, that our penalty reports are legible, that they are not handwritten. Let's make sure that we have play numbers on there, and let's do a very good job with that. When you communicate with your coaches, I'm sure you already have this week, remind them of the huddle, set the expectations with the coaches, tell them what you're looking for, and I believe that you will get the good huddle that you're looking for. I know for me and my crew, I'm not going to send anything in to be evaluated until I have decided exactly which film we're going to use, and we're going to make sure that our play numbers are on our penalty report. And just also, for the evaluations, there's going to be special situations in which you're going to have difficult plays. It may not be specifically covered in the manual. Hopefully the evaluators will recognize that. I would also say that if you do, I would note that in my penalty report or when I sent it in, so that it can be given to the evaluators, so that they'll be able to have an understanding of why we did what we did. Man, I'm pulling for all you guys. That's really all I have, unless somebody has questions for me, I believe.
Questions for Greg? All right, cool. Let's move on to the deep guys.
Well, thanks. So wanted to quickly reiterate OPI and DPI categories. It's important whether or not they report to you, referee, when they come up and report their penalty and discuss enforcement. It's kind of up to you whether or not you want to hear the category, but it is critical for us to have and know the category of DPI or OPI that we select. So you should hear one of these 4 terms for OPI, one of these 6 terms for defensive pass interference, should we have one. I believe as well, correct me if I'm wrong, James or Clifton or someone, that we should also have the ability to write in what the category is in the foul report. Would love for us to do that if we can get that in there.
Yes, right. You should have the room to do that.
Okay, thank you. Oh, last thing, big red mark down here. This goes for every foul and honestly should go across every single position. Make it big. Make it big. We don't want ticky-tack stuff, but we want the train wrecks. All right, next. Reinforcement for mechanics. So the Deeps did have a slight mechanic change this year, really more to do with flexibility to be in position and be in position based on the team, based on the situation. So just a reminder, it's okay for your field and side judge to be anywhere from 20 to 25 yards pre-snap position. It's okay for the back judge to be anywhere from 25 to 30 yards pre-snap position. As long as we continue to maintain about a 10 to 15 yard cushion. I want to reinforce that their back judge has got to be able to cover the end line on any pass into the end zone, regardless of where he starts. Unless we snap the ball from the 7, your back judge is solely responsible for the end zone, for the end line. Remind him of that. A punt, again, everyone no less than 5 yards behind the deepest. And we want to maintain as a B. We kind of have a typical starting route of about 10 yards deep and 2 to 5 yards wide. We want to maintain the 45-degree angle during the kick so that we're in position to see and rule on whether it's a muff or possession or whether it's touched at all. And then lastly, this question has come up a few times in our association, and I know it's come up across others. When the field and side judge are on the end line, we're going to be 45 degrees. We want them 45 degrees off the inline pylon. All right, next.
That's all you got, buddy.
All right, right on, man. So Because I didn't see the small text. That's my fault. All right, communication. So it's critical that we have both verbal and nonverbal communication between and during downs. It's critical that we communicate down the sideline and across the deeps. What's the next down, right? What is the situation? What is our count when we're counting on defense? And then just a reminder on keys, guys. Balanced formation, the back judge will always cheat to the line judge side. All right. And then when we're unbalanced, any other formation, 3-1 doesn't matter, bunch, stack, etc. We want to take a snapshot at the line of scrimmage and then let the play develop from there.
All right. Any questions for our deep guy?
Adam has a question in the chat. It's on punts. Is it okay for all deeps to be in a straight line across, or do you want side judge and field judge 5 yards in front of the back judge?
So that's the flexibility piece that we're offering in our mechanics change this year. We want you no less than 5. It is no issue from my perspective that we are straight line 10 across. I have no issue with that. In fact, that's kind of what we do in our association. The reason we do that is because at 10 yards, we want the deeps to be stationary as long as we can while maintaining a cushion. If we start at 10 yards, which is even with the back judge, that allows them a better cone of vision. It allows them to open it and allows them to be stationary longer in most situations. Great question.
Any other questions?
Hey, James, this is Garrett. I want to clarify one thing real fast. You say when it's balanced, 2 and 2, we got a quarterback in shotgun and you got a running back off to the right or left. It only becomes unbalanced when he's outside the tackle box, correct?
Affirmative. If a runner is inside the tackle, if we don't see space, between that tackle's leg and that runner's foot, then he's inside and he doesn't matter to us. Yes.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Garrett, he becomes the responsibility of the wing officials at that point. We should be communicating with the back judges on that.
I just wanted to confirm that. I'd heard just confirming. Thanks.
Yep. Great point. I will say again, though, as I mentioned, as the play develops, the back judge or deep may end up picking that player up. But yes, that's a good call for pre-snap coverage.
Cool. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now we have the wings, KS Sports.
That's right. Fantabulous wings. Listen, let me say this real quick. I'm only going to be like 3 minutes, but now is the time to ask your question. You got Jay on, you got James on, you got the training committee, you got folks who write the mechanics manual and put all the mechanics in place. Now is the time to ask your question. And James, I just want you to know that this slide did not look like this when I sent it to you. This looks terrible. Let me see if I can even read it.
It looked terrible before.
No, it didn't. It was amazing. Wing officials know
it
that.
Looked terrible before. This looks 1,000% better than it did.
So bad. Okay, listen, wing officials and referees, remind your wing officials, new line of game mechanic. Really, one of the few changes we had mechanically. 3rd and 4th down, when the line of gain is 3 yards or less from the line of scrimmage on a regular scrimmage play. We're not talking about scrimmage kicks. Both the wings will go to the line of gain immediately after the snap. All other responsibilities remain the same. So if you're a line judge and you normally punch, which you should be doing, you will still punch. All we're doing is kind of mimicking goal line mechanics here. So let's remember and communicate that 3 yards or less, 3rd or 4th down on a regular scrimmage play, we have a new line to gain mechanic. Okay. Adam mentioned this, and I think everyone should remind each other that when we do most things as officials, we are communicating something, verbally or non-verbally, right? So let's make sure our communication is good. For wing officials, you want to communicate with your sideline partner. I don't like talking to the deeps very much, but you have to. Cross-field partners in particular, right? Let's communicate about tough plays, catch, no catch, cross-field mechanics, tough catches over the middle. Let's just make sure we're clean on communication. I would recommend you go over some plays and talk through situations in your pregame, routines and your pregame discussions. Wing officials, clean line of scrimmage. You hear me say it every year at camp. It's a fundamental tenet of the game. You're either on or you're off. No man's land is not a real place. Well, here's the thing. We know you may see some of it early, Let's clean it up early. We don't want to see it on play 40, 50, 60 when we saw it in play 1, 2, or 3 to start the game, right? Let's clean it up early. One of the things I like to do is when my referee goes to talk to coaches, I come right behind him after he's done and I talk about a clean line of scrimmage and seeing space between folks who are on the line and folks who are not. That way he can't say I didn't tell him when I flag him. Okay? Clean line of scrimmage. Let's make sure we have that. We have teams making it all the way to the state championship every year with ugly lines of scrimmage. Let's clean it up. 7-person, just a couple of things on keys. Remember, you have a back judge now, wing officials, so you do not have to try and watch 2 or 3 people officiate quickly with your eyes and see where the threat is as much, right? Adam mentioned this. On double doubles, line judge, you have help. Back judges, we want you to remember that line judge is switching sides. You're the only person that's back there at the deep that's not. And so in the first half, you'll be looking towards the chain side. In the second half, when you're going to help that line judge, you'll be looking across from the chains, right? So backs that are flexed, I'll call it, around the tight ends and the tackles. Line of scrimmage officials and the back judge should discuss who covers. Garrett asked something around this question. There's a back that's kind of hiding behind a tight end or hiding behind a tackle. If that back judge can't see him, it's for the line of scrimmage official to pick him up. Okay, let's make sure we communicate that. Also, free blocking zone, just a quick reminder, don't let tight ends outside of the free blocking zone block low, right? And so you need to assess that. Umpires, we may need a little bit of help on that. But, you know, you got 2-foot splits in between all these linemen, and then you got a tight end out here, and they're cutting. They're probably out of the zone. So that may be something you want to talk about, okay? OPI, let's be strict on the blocks happening downfield if that ball is caught beyond the neutral zone, right? We give a little grace with linemen downfield. We give them up to 3 yards when it's a normal forward pass, right? OPI, we cannot be that graceful. They are blocking 3-4 yards downfield and they catch a ball 1 yard beyond. We need to bang that. We need to be strict on that OPI, okay? That creates advantages. Let's not do that. And then wrapping this up, goal line. Do not give up the goal line. This is for line of scrimmage officials and deeps. Going in starts on the 7-yard line. Going out, it applies to any play between the goal line and the 10-yard line. We see a lot of crews getting dinged in the playoffs because the head line judge forgets that he or she has goal line mechanics all the way out to the 10-yard line. You have to read the play once you're beyond the 3, right? But goal line mechanics going out extend all the way to the 10-yard line. And remember, on pile-ups, line of scrimmage officials and umpires, you come up with a signal, you know, for a player in possession of the ball in the end zone. But I want the wing officials to see that and come in and verify. Trust, but verify on some of these. I think that's it for me, James.
Questions?
Hit us up at Hotmail. We're ready.
Hey, Kenny, this is Chris Moore. Can you hear me?
I can, Chris. What's up?
Hey, just one question. When there's a line to gain inside the 5-yard line, say the 3 or 2-yard line, we're still saying just go straight to the goal line and work back to the line to gain, or are we saying there's any flexibility there?
I think, Chris, like the most important, this is a very good question, actually. The most important line is always going to be that goal line, right? But if a play is clearly to one side or another, what I'd like to see you do, and if you have to overthink it, just go to the goal line. But what I'd like to see you do is the play side official goes ahead and goes to the goal line. Backside official can slow down a little bit around that line of game, right? And kind of see what happens there and then get to the goal line. But ultimately, the goal line is the most important line on the field. But if you do have a line to gain, you can play with that a little bit, assuming that a play is obviously to one side or another. If it's up the middle, you both need to be getting to that goal line. You know, chances are you're not going to miss a spot from, 3-4 yards away. Okay, great question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any questions?
Any more?
Hey, Kenny, Phil Salter. Can you hear me, Kenny?
Is that who is that, Phil?
Phil Salter. How you, Kenny?
Hey, man, what's going on?
I'm doing well, sir. Hey, I got a question because I've been preaching all year.
Uh-oh.
Tell the wing guys, I know y'all ding them right here. After a score, when the deep guy has the goal line, you want your wing guys, everybody wants their wing guys going behind them. Don't go in front of them. Correct, sir? That's a big ding.
Well, so I think it depends on what's happening, right? Like, so
Yep.
I will tell you, I let little common sense dictate this. Like, let's say, there's a long pass and Deep's on the goal line signaling touchdown. If these kids are getting, into it, I'm not going to take the time to go around them. I don't know if we should be getting dinged for that, right? And I'm willing to say that while we're being recorded. I'm going to where the drama is. I'm just going to clean up, right? So it's more important, I think, that we see them cleaning up anything than whether they go in front of or behind, right? That's my personal opinion. If Deep on this call or Dr. Bodie or anyone has anything else to say, let us know now.
All right. Appreciate it, Kenny. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Boy, did I see you come off mute?
Yeah. I've got a quick question. I think it's related to ours and short wings. So the ball that snapped from the 11 to the 15 coming out. If the goal line's back there threatened, my theory is to work it like a punt, opposite the R, come back and work the goal line when it's being threatened. Is that something we just do, or do we? What's y'all's thoughts there?
Yeah, man. Let's talk it out. So here's what my white hat is a bully. So he tells me once I get outside of that 10-yard line that it is his goal line. He is no longer on that end line. But so that will become his responsibility, right? And ours chime in. But if there is a bad snap and we're on the 11, no foil, like we still box the play in, so the official opposite him will go back. But most plays, if it's just a normal scrimmage play, a quarterback's back there running around and we're on the 11, the R is going to take that goal line.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know, James or Greg, if any of you have anything else you want to add on that one. That's a pretty good question.
Two things I want to add for wing officials that I've seen this year. If it's fourth down and what's the first thing you do after a fourth down play? Stop the clock.
Stop the clock.
Stop the clock. Stop the clock. Don't give a dead ball signal. Stop the clock. And the second thing I've seen is really crappy dead ball signals where people don't even raise their hand above their head. Give a good dead ball signal. Keep it out there. Give a good signal. Those two sloppy things I've seen over and over again on films that I've watched, and I watch a lot of the National Federation Network, and I've watched across the state. Those two things right there, I think, make a crew look good or make a crew look bad. It's those detailed things. All right, anybody else have any questions for Kenny?
One more comment and I'm out of here.
I do.
And then I'll get this.
I have a question.
Who's? I can't see who you are.
Thomas Graham has a question.
Thomas?
Yes.
Go ahead.
On the OPI blocking downfield, the statement on the screen said if the ball is caught. That could be interpreted wrong right there.
Good question.
So you got somebody blocking downfield, and it says if the ball is caught.
Yeah.
Well, we want late flags.
We want what, James?
We want late flag. We want not immediate flags on something like that. We want to.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question again?
What Thomas is saying is we're talking about if the ball is caught, we throw it. It's kind of how we worded it. Should we be throwing that if it's not caught?
Well, if it's not an illegal block, why would we throw a flag on it if it's not a pass?
Well, it is a pass. He's talking about an OPI downfield.
Downfield.
We have OPI, but he drops it.
So Greg,
I got you.
Linemen are blocking 5 yards downfield. Ball is attempted to be caught 2 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Do we want a flag on that?
I think it would have to be very blatant.
Question. What'd you say, James?
I think it would have to be very blatant.
I will tell you, I lean towards a no unless it's nuts, Thomas. And so I think I'm with James.
I was just reading the statement, and somebody may see that, and I agree the ball could be overthrown or whatever,
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
want to flag on the overthrow.
I agree with that, James. I just saw where it said caught, and that kind of stood out to me there.
Yeah, that's a good nuance to point out. I think for me, the way I've officiated is it would have to be something nuts.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I also lean towards fewer but bigger flags, more quality than quantity.
Yeah, it's got to be big.
I agree.
That's a great one. I don't think I've ever had that one.
I think that's where good judgment comes into effect, and
Yeah.
and better crews have good judgment.
Yeah, they do.
Common sense.
Cool.
And then, James, let me say this if there are no more questions, but I would love for the wing officials to not get in a hurry. I think we over hustle and we do fake hustle. We can see it on film when you're like just moving fast for no reason. We don't want you to look lazy, but you do not have to get in a hurry, right? Just move crisply. We're not interested in how fast you are in the 40. Get to spots, square in, look clean. James talked about it. Give very clean dead ball mechanics signals, and very clean incomplete passes, and just be crisp. But you don't have to impress us with your quickness and all of those things.
Hey, Kenny, clarification.
Yes, Mr. Ingram.
On that last scenario, you said we had linemen. I know we were talking about OPI. We had linemen 5 yards downfield and a pass caught, not caught. 2 yards downfield. We would still want IDP on that regardless,
Yep.
right? Even though we're not
they'd
touching
be
OPI.
on that 3
Okay.
yard.
Okay. I agree. No OPI, but we still want IDP on there, right?
Yes.
You know what happens, Pat, is they start looking like big tight ends when they get beyond a few yards.
Mm-hmm.
They look like they're now the defense is going to react. They start looking like tight ends running routes when they get beyond 2 yards.
Yeah, I just wanted clarification. I heard no flag. I was making sure we still want IDP on that and not pass on that one.
As a last point on that, I think this is a good conversation because a lot of these offenses now have screens, a lot of outside screens, a lot of inside screens, and we got to be cognizant where that ball was caught and where the linemen are. So it's just something you really need to make sure you cover in your pre-games. All right, let's move on to our umpires.
No, we got another question, James.
Oh, we got another question. Hold on, Rob.
Hold on. Should formation for no man's, we don't want Rob to talk yet anyway. Should formation for no man's land be called earlier or talk to them first and then flag it? This is always tough for me. I will say, unless it's egregious, just talk to them early, not a flag. If it's egregious, like you got to get it. If it's just crazy, right? You have to get that. And that's judgment. But if they're a little bit in no man's land, a little bit too close, talk to them early. So if we see it, when someone's reviewing it, they see it on play 4, 5, 6. They don't see it on play 56. That fair, Greg? I think Greg's who asked that question.
Schedule the meeting for 8, then the last minute, send some emails out and schedule moving up to 7:30. Who does that for a statewide meeting?
Great. Yeah, thanks. And that answered my question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Underwood.
Is Gene done?
Gene was giving information to someone to come onto the meeting. Sounded like.
Okay, great. All right, go ahead, Rob.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening and congratulations to all our referees for leading your crews into the postseason. As you can see, my contact information was there on that first slide, and I guess James will send it out to everybody. If you have any questions, be more than happy to help you as we get into the last 5 weeks of this postseason. So just a couple points of emphasis real quick as it relates to the umpire in that position. And starting with free kicks, and this is really, looking back over the last couple of years and some of the things that as an umpire we can do better, and that's come off the sidelines, guys that are staying on the sidelines after a ball's kicked on a free kick and not moving downfield. You're probably going to get dinged by the evaluators. Don't ball watch. Again, we got our quarter of the field down to the 25-yard line. Officiate typically off ball. You're looking for the blocks that are happening as they come back towards you. And that's kind of the points of emphasis on free kicks. Scoring kicks, again, give ground to the side judge. And then as Kenny and they had already spoke about that swing gate, remember numbering. If they're going to run a play out of that swinging gate formation. That's not a kick formation, and you have to have your eligible linemen in that formation, whether they're out in the swinging gate or not. So, and then punts, lastly, on the kicking game, stay with your threats, stay with the linemen until they release and they go downfield. Once they release and pass you, then turn and go downfield with them. All right, James. Scrimmage plays, count, count, count. Don't just give I have 11 to your referee if you don't have 11. Make sure you have 11 before you give him the confirmation. Next, spot off balls off the covering wing, okay? If they're going to go on full ticks or half ticks, you spot it off of what yard line they give you. Work with the referee to determine your pre-snap routine, whether he wants you to stay over the ball or you can release to get in your position. This is a big one, and that is not lining up lining up no more than 10 yards off the ball. Unfortunately, we have some umpires that are going to line up 11, 12, 13 yards. And if you're going to line up that deep, there's a back judge position that's waiting for you. Stay 10 yards. Don't get deeper. Okay. You can vary your position tackle to tackle, and you can vary it also about with down and distance, how deep you're going to be. Next thing is, move with the play. Play goes to the outside, move to the outside with the play. I think the biggest thing is kind of going back to the basis and keeping that play inside that mobile box. Next would be, don't treat the hash marks as a wall. For me, I'm going to work sideline to sideline, goal line to goal line. So go where you need to go to be in place to make the call and to help your crew with ball rotation. Okay. I think this is a big thing for the umpires. Again, it's hustle, don't hurry. We always need to be at the appropriate times moving when we need to move, and sometimes we need to be stationary. Just don't give the appearance of being a lazy umpire, okay? And as Kenny said earlier and stuff, and Adam, get the whales and let the minnows go. There's an infraction on every play. There's a hold on every play, but does it need to be called? Does it impact the play? Get the big things and let the little things go. All right, James. Same thing, count, count, count. No more than 10 yards. Another big thing in your pre-snap positioning, and one of the things that's seen often in film is that, you'll start at 8 or 9 yards and your first movement is backing up. I would caution you not to back up, stay in a stationary position or maybe take a step forward, but there's not a reason for you to start backing out of the play and stuff. The line of scrimmage is your priority. Those linemen are your key center guards, and that's where you should be officiating 99% of your time. Okay. Turn only when there are no threats on the line of scrimmage. Again, there's only a few times during the course of a game that you're going to be able to be of assistance to your wings and to your 3 deep official to help with catch and no catch. So again, I tell the umpires to really stay with the line of scrimmage more often than turning and looking at the ball and whether you have catch or no catch. Next, again, your wings are not the only ones that are there to call ineligibles downfield. You're there to help support them, when it's obvious. Kenny said, 3-4 yards downfield. If they get to you, they're definitely too far downfield and stuff. So know when they're downfield or not, and helps us to make that call and help support that. Again, goal line 7 yards and in. Our responsibilities change because the wings are going to the goal line. So remember, many times we'll need to go towards the line of scrimmage to help officiate around that. All right, James, next slide. I think this is an important slide, and a lot of this actually is not seen on film, but make sure that you are working with your referee and confirming penalty administration before you mark it off. As an umpire, knowledge is a must. You don't rely just on the referee. because he has the white hat. You need to be there to help support him and be part of this crew. And next, marking off the penalty from correct enforcement spot, previous spot versus seating spot. Previous spot is where the ball was last snapped from. And what I mean by this, if we snap from the right hash and you have a play that goes to the left side of the field and you have a penalty, you don't go to the left hash and mark the penalty off. You're going to go back to the right hash to mark that penalty off. Last, again, penalty enforcement is crew responsibility. So y'all discuss penalties when necessary, to make sure that you're making the correct decision and enforcing penalties correctly. And last, for my umpires, I'd remind them to read the mechanics manual and be proficient with that. So last, two piggyback comments to Kenny's presentation, to remind them again that the wings are going to go to the line to gain when it's within 3 or 4 yards. So again, that we also have that kind of the goal line mechanics where we'll have ineligibles downfield where the ball's thrown from and caught and all that good stuff. And then the last thing is communicating with your wings. Kenny talked about the tight ends being outside the tackle box on wide splits. You can get on the radio and communicate with them and let them know, hey, that tight end, he has a tendency to go low, keep an eye on him. He looks like he's outside the tackle box, just to help them out. That's all I have, James.
Any questions for our umpire rep? Nothing. You must have covered it well.
I think so. They're going to wait and email me tomorrow.
They'll email you tomorrow.
Exactly.
All right, cool. We're going to move on to Georgia High School stuff. I'm going to go through this. Jay, please chime in if you have anything to add to this. Billing associations bill Georgia High School for all playoff games. Please send them to Jay and Pam. Is that correct, Jay?
Yes, you can send them to me and I will get them to our bookkeeper. And we'll pay after the quarterfinals first and then pay the rest after the finals. So we'll have 2 payment dates. So.
Associations confirm crews with Jay weekly. Email Jay your crew. Note any changes to the crews. Also, no artificial noisemakers are allowed at any GHSA contest. Jay, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, the rule actually, our bylaw actually says that they are forbidden inside and they are allowed outside. But we've had a couple of incidences where the soccer horns, basically coming out of Thomas County Central, have impaired the offense's ability to execute, the quarterback's ability to hear. And if we get in that situation, we're going to handle it just like a band playing. If the referee feels like the quarterback cannot communicate effectively, we will or he will ask the head coach of the team that is making the noise to cut it down, and then we'll proceed with a warning, a delay of game, and then an unsportsmanlike. Hopefully it won't come to that. Hopefully we won't be confronted with this situation at all. The schools that have been in violation have been spoken with, but we don't feel like we can just say we're banning all artificial noisemakers, because in our white book it says that they are legal. But there have been occasions, just 1 or 2, where the sound becomes prohibitive to the offense being able to execute.
All right, let's talk about the procedure for that. They can't tell you in the huddle that they can't hear. They have to go to the line of scrimmage, get down, get into center, or get in shotgun formation. Then they have to turn and tell the referee, hey, I can't hear. Please do something about the noisemakers or the band. And then the procedure starts from there. After the first time, it's a warning. The second time, it's a delay of game 5 yards. And then every time after that, it's a 15-yard penalty. But they can't stand in the huddle, or the coach can't say, hey, I can't hear, blah, blah, blah. Quarterback has to go to the line of scrimmage. Everybody has to get down, and the quarterback says, I can't hear, either under the center or at shotgun formation. That's how it works. Any questions on that?
So Jay or James, real quick. So cowbells, that would be okay. We're just talking about those bazooka horn sounding things, but cowbells are okay.
I've never heard of cowbells being intrusive to the quarterback being able to hear, but I have had some reports where it's awfully difficult to hear with these horns blowing. These I don't know what you call them. They had the Atlanta soccer team made them famous, but people have brought them into games, and it does become very difficult to hear. Just like the band playing while the opposing band playing while the team's on offense.
And 99% of the time, it's going to be the band issue where this comes in. Anybody else have any questions about any of that? All right, cool. Let's talk about you.
James, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So the band's playing during the offensive huddle.
They can play in the huddle. When they get down, when they break the huddle, they have to stop. When they break the huddle to get down to the line of scrimmage and the play's about to start or whatever, they have to stop.
All right, great. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Hey, James, we want to clarify. There's a question in the chat real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. We'll come right back to you. Said wants to know, Greg said put play numbers on the foul report. He's obviously talking about the huddle play numbers, right? There's nothing else we're looking for, right? Just
correct. Yeah, that is correct.
All right.
The huddle play numbers of the video you're sending in to get evaluated. Go ahead, Foy.
Can the when there's noise, band, and or the TCC horns, does that have to come from a player on the field, or can it come from a coach?
It has to come from the quarterback.
Okay.
This rule, the noise rule is for the quarterback, calling signals, whatever. And again, he has to get up, get ready for the snap, either under the center or at shotgun, and say, I can't hear. That's the only time that this comes into play.
Thank
or
you.
the punter, the punter's back there and say, they're ready to snap the ball to him. And say, I can't hear. Okay, let's talk about UNS fouls. Let's clear this up. Rick, you want to cover this, Rick, or do you want me to do it?
You go ahead, James. It's clear on the slide.
Okay. UNS fouls are non-contact fouls. 2 UNS fouls leads to a DQ. UNS fouls on the sidelines. UNS fouls on the head coach is on the head coach. UNS fouls on the assistant coach is on that assistant coach. UNS fouls on any other non-player that is, or any other player, it's a non-player like photographer, AD, whatever, is on that person. So if it's a player on the sidelines, it's giving you to flag him, it's on that player. If it's the band guy standing on the sidelines raising hell, or the AD raising hell, it's on him, and you want to try to get him removed. All UNS fouls should be sent into Georgia High School in a game report. Remember, 2 UNS fouls on a player, coach, or non-player. I would say non-player on the sideline, a number non-player, or assistant coach or head coach. 2 of those on those individuals, they've got to leave. They have to leave the playing site.
So James, I got a direct question from someone that they're looking for clarification on this UNS. We get a noise violation and it rises to a UNS. That's on, the way it reads on this slide, it looks like UNS fouls on any other non-player is on that non-player. So these aren't attributed to the coach.
That's correct. Is that correct, Jay?
Yes.
So you might get 15 of those.
Yeah.
And then they're going to get a big fine from Georgia High School.
Go find them, Jay.
Find them, baby. Find them.
All right. Anybody else got a question on this? I want to clear this up. All right, cool.
Just real quick, James. So we've done away with charging any of the UNSs that assistant coaches get. We are no longer charging those to the head coach.
That's
That was
correct.
kind of the Kevin rule, I know.
That was a Kevin Robin
Okay.
thing.
Okay, so, okay, got it.
Thank you.
You
Evaluations.
got a question, James, in the
All
chat.
right, go ahead. Shoot.
You got if a player gets 2 UNS fouls, does a coach need to escort him off? Can they hang out on the sideline? What's the deal?
No, they've got to go to the locker room.
Go, okay.
We've got to leave the playing field.
Jay, I thought players had to stay on the sideline.
They may have to, Patrick. You got me there. So
I think we have the player can stay on the sideline as long as he's not belligerent on the sideline. Any other issue with him, then he's got to leave. That's just for safety for the kid.
Yeah, because it's similar with a fight, right? I mean, he's ejected, but
yes,
we let him stay on the sideline and hang out. We got the number, and they just can't come back, right? Because there may be a liability thing if we let them leave.
Yeah,
probably so. Yes, sir.
The head coach is responsible for that player too. So
yeah, all good.
So Kenny, I have a question. Do the player have to get undressed?
No.
Hey, if he want to stay suited and booted, he better just stay on that sideline.
We just better make sure he didn't come back in.
That's right.
All right, let's talk about it.
Hey, James,
yeah, go ahead.
Phil Salter. Here's one problem. Like you said, if he stays dressed, we have multiple, like Valdosta has 2 number 2s. One of their number 2s is their star quarterback. They have number 2 who plays safety. So you got to know which name and number 2 that gets ejected. So
Correct.
yeah, there's multiple numbers.
Yeah, you have to make sure of that. It's just like every college game has multiple same numbers.
Oh yeah.
Every college game does, and it's just something you have to deal with.
Phil, you and Dr. Bodie are going to stop letting us just see half of your face. Like, you're asking questions. All we see is your beard, dude.
Well, at least we don't see his eyebrows like we do with Rick. All right, evaluations. Video. You're responsible for getting the video to Georgia High School Huddle. You need to review it. You get the Huddle video to your association. You review it. You get your foul numbers. Fouls out of that, the play numbers, put them on your foul report, send it in, then send the video in to Georgia High School's Huddle. Everybody knows what that is. If you don't, please let me know. I'll direct you in the right direction. We need the foul reports for each game. No excuse. I'll talk about that in a minute. DQ events. Your crew will be DQ'd for the following events: losing a down, inadvertent whistles, less than 7 to start the game or at the end of the game. You should have subs available. No excuses. Repeated enforcement errors in a game. That'll be down to Jay's decision. Overtime errors, procedures or enforcement errors in overtime, or any other procedure errors that affect the game. You can be disqualified. Most of the time, we've had to DQ people. It's losing it down or inadvertent whistles. We had one that didn't start the game with 7. Unbelievable. Any questions on that? Nothing. Crickets. Foul reports. I'm going to put this PowerPoint up on the Georgia High School football training website, so you can get that off there. There's a link on here to the Google, and I emailed the Google Drive links for you. The Google Drive where you'll upload your foul report. The second thing there is the foul report. It's a digital foul report you can save to your computer, fill it out, then upload it to the drive. It's the link above. I emailed that to everybody already. Upload the file as X versus Y, school names, not cats versus hurricanes. Jesus Christ. The date and your crew ID number. Well, you don't have your crew ID number. So it would be your association, and your referee's number, or area and the referee's number. Is that pretty clear? School names, date, crew name. So it'd be GFOA Guilford or whatever. That would be your crew ID. Or area Norton.
James, can you, before you upload this, can you just put the example in here so they'll be clear on it?
So they'll be what?
So they'll be crystal clear on how you want that file to look. Like, can you just can you update this slide and then?
Yes, I will fix this slide before we update it.
Thank you, sir.
Upload it, sorry. Any questions on that? Need a foul report for every game. Helps the evaluators immensely. Other evaluation info. And Jay, chime in here anytime you want to. You will get weekly evaluations. Scores and standings will come out after the second round.
Yeah, I misspoke today in my email to the associations. I stated that we would post standings on Friday after the first evaluations were complete. That is incorrect. We won't post standings until after the second evaluation is complete.
Cool. Our quality control person will be reviewing data weekly for issues with evaluations. That's his job. Challenges. Remember challenges. After the third round only if the score is less than 3. And remember, each crew gets 1. Questions?
You got a couple of them in the chat, James. Do we list the names of all officials on the penalty chart or no?
Yes, there's a place for it. Go ahead and list them all.
So James, in the past, the evaluators have not known who the crew name or the referee name was. They've only been identified by the crew ID number, which was done by Clifton. I mean, I'm fine with that. We just need to make sure that's what we want to do, because that is different.
Okay, don't put the referee's names in it. But when you upload it, you will have referee or GFOA, whoever the referee's name is. And then they will change and put the crew ID number on there for the evaluators. And I'll update that slide. Any question on this? Anything else you want to add, Jay, to this?
No, sir.
Cool. All right, last call.
Hey, James, real quick, let me ask this. I'm sure people are thinking it, and I'll probably get this later, but
yeah.
So on the evaluations, Jay, maybe this is a question for you, but like if we get those scores where they're just so different, right? You get a very high score and and it's above a 3, right? And then you get a score, let's say it's a 4, just making that up, and then you get a 3. Does that count as a challenge too, to sort of figure out why the discrepancy amongst the PEB?
No, we will just look into that. I can't say that any action will be taken, but we're trying to fine tune this process, and bringing in a quality control person is going to help us do that.
Sounds good.
Every challenge has to be below 3.
Is that going to happen automatically, Jay, or do we need to notify that we've got a discrepancy?
Notify me
okay.
If you want to chat.
And it was 0.7 or
0.6.
0.6. Okay.
And then James, what is the deadline on sending in the film and the foul report? You got a question there?
We would prefer everybody to have it in by noon after the night of your game. I think we're only evaluating 2 crews on Saturday, so they will be in by noon on Sunday. But for all, we go to all Fridays in the second round from then on. Noon Saturday is not a hard deadline, but certainly a preferable deadline.
Yeah.
Jay, any other questions?
Yeah, Jay, Larry Cook.
Yes, sir.
Question that if we have a crew that has a Friday game and then also an early Saturday game, one at 2:00, is there any flexibility there about getting that information in from the Friday night game? It's already got about I'm
You know,
glad.
this week, Larry, yes, there is. We have time this week because all 56 crews will be assigned next week. We'll be a little bit more flexible, but in the second round, we are pressed for time, and but everybody will play on Friday, so you know we need to get that film and those penalty sheets in by noon on Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Jay, this is Ralph Green. I have a question to that point that you just made. So, the officials officiate the game. If the schools do not provide the film, then where are we at that point? I know we have a deadline, because I do know on last year, a couple of times we couldn't get the film to possibly. I know one time I believe it came that Saturday afternoon, I think.
Right. We're not going to penalize you for that. We understand it, but if you can communicate with the school and kind of tell them what your expectations are, you know, perhaps we can speed that process up. But just get the film in as soon as you can. We set noon as our deadline. We understand that sometimes that may not happen. We just want to get the films to our evaluators in a timely manner and as soon as possible.
Oh yeah, no doubt, because I'm one of those people. So, yeah.
Okay. Just an
Hey,
update
James,
here. Yeah, hold on
James,
just a
I had a
second.
real,
Hold on
real,
just a second. Hold on just
all
a
right.
second. On the foul reports, we're just going to put the school names and the date. That's it. School names and date. I will fix this slide before I upload it, but school names and the date. Everybody good with that? All right, go ahead and ask your question.
So on crews that have games Friday and Saturday, are both games being evaluated?
No, just the Friday game.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions from the chat?
No, I think you're caught up, James.
All right, cool. All right, last thing.
Hey, James,
Yes, go ahead.
just for clarification. So since we're not putting the referee name on the file name, let's just to clarify, not putting officials' names in the plate or the foul chart.
Yes, correct.
All right, cool.
Correct. Sorry, my fault.
No worries.
All right, last thing. Referees, you and your crew need to block out all the noise. A lot of shit going on around you. You know, I know how it is being selected. People may not like it in your group or whatever. You got to block out all that noise. Concentrate on your crew. And your crew's got to do the same thing. I would suggest you pregame on Thursday, either Zoom or an in-person meeting. Pregame hard. Because when you get up there on Friday, there's not a whole lot of time usually. In a lot of places, it's not a good place to do a good pregame. So do a hard pregame on Thursday, do a soft pregame on Friday. Everybody should be ready to go. That's just my suggestion. Try to travel together if you can. Hopefully it's going to be a long ride for all of you. Just traveling together makes a big difference with getting to know people you may not have worked with or whatever, but do what you can there. Best crews, the referee is just part of the machine. That means the referee's not doing everything. He's not pointing out to everybody what to do. And that goes in the next bullet, which is everybody has a job to do and they need to know how to do it. Your best crews work autonomously. They communicate. If it's a dead ball foul, by the time the referee turns around after giving the signal, it should be almost be marked off and we should be about ready to go. That's what the best crews do. The referee's just part of the machine. And everybody knows what their job is. And the last thing, enjoy it. Enjoy every snap. You never know when it's going to be your last time you get to go. I've known plenty of people who thought, hey, next year this and that, and never got next year. Enjoy this year. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy working these games. That's all I have. If we have any questions from last call for questions.
The last question, James, in the chat, and then in a statement. So when will we get the recorded link to share with our crews? So when you think you'll have it up?
For this PowerPoint and
yes.
For the PowerPoint and for the this recording, Clifton's going to have to download it, upload it to YouTube. It'll be a private link that I'll email everybody that I had on who got the meeting invite. Also, this PowerPoint, Clifton's going to put it on the training website, and I'll let you know when that happens.
Cool. I think that's it.
All right, guys, I appreciate it. I'm sorry. Some of these things, I'm not a Zoom guy. I don't know what the deal is with the link, but whatever, we got through it. This is the first time us doing this, so we hope that this was beneficial to all of you. Anybody wants to send comments, can text me, email me, or if you don't want to text me or email me, text Jay, let him know how you feel about it. But we hope this is a beneficial thing. We'll try to make it an annual event. One thing, whoever gets to the finals, we will have a VR meeting for the referees and the crews, just like we did last year, the week of the championship, or since they're playing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll probably have to do it Saturday before the finals. So just FYI there. But good luck to everybody. I don't have anything else. Jay, you have any?
One more question, James. We got a last minute question flying in.
Here we go.
I think you may have answered this. Where can we find a copy of the GHSA file report? Did you not email a link out?
I did email everybody a link. I emailed everybody a link, and I emailed everybody a link to the Google Drive to upload it.
Okay, cool. So I really think that's it. I wear an extra large shirt, a large if I'm flexing my muscles for anyone that passes the Buc-ee's when you're traveling. I'll collect it at camp next year. Thanks.
All right, good luck, guys. Jay, you got anything?
No, that guy in the picture though has his knees covered, so
Barely.
That's a joke. That's a joke. Sorry.
All right, guys. Good luck to y'all.